Hello everyone, I Assistant Professor Pragati Shetty from Department of Microbiology, KG Somaya College. In this online lecture, we will study about the cell membrane and the protein synthesis inhibitors. In the last online lecture, we have completed or we have studied the cell membrane inhibitor and the cell wall inhibitors under the action of antimicrobial agents on the bacteria. Okay, so in this one we will study the protein synthesis inhibitor, which are the molecule or the antimicrobial agents which are able to inhibit the synthesis of the proteins in the bacterial cell, are called as the protein synthesis inhibitors. Now the protein synthesis process, why it is so important and what is the role of this, that we will see first. Now in the bacteria, the protein synthesis will take place in the two stages. First is the transcription and then the translation will be produced. In the transcription, the mRNA will get synthesized from the double-stranded DNA. The DNA will unwind and from that single strand of the DNA, the mRNA will get synthesized, right? Then that mRNA is responsible for carrying the information which will decode, due to which the protein will get synthesized, a process we called as the translation. Okay, so this both the process, transcription and the translation together, will carry out the protein synthesis in the bacterial cell. Now the protein synthesis can be used for the bacterial growth, for protein synthesis, right, for enzyme transport, formation. Okay, this is the very important process in the bacterial cell. Now we will see the antimicrobial agent who inhibit this protein synthesis process, right? Now first one is the tetracyclines. Now tetracycline is a very important group of the antibiotic or the protein synthesis inhibitors. Okay, these are produced from the Streptomyces ramosus species, the tetracyclines. Now in the tetracycline, it is the bacteriostatic drug. Okay, that means it will inhibit the growth of the bacteria or it will stop the bacteria from multiplying. Okay, so now it can be used against the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria, the mycoplasmas, rickettsia and the chlamydia. Also it can used in the some certain protozoas also. Okay, now the one important property of the tetracycline, it can readily absorb from the intestinal tract, and therefore it is effective when the given or when it is consumed. The amount of absorption of this drug is very high in the intestinal tract, and therefore the action of its drug also is very effective, right? Then they can be used for treating the urinary tract infections that is caused by the gram negative bacteria, especially gram negative rods. Okay, this can inhibit the protein synthesis via blocking the amino acyl transfer RNA, amino acyl tRNA, okay, from entering into the acceptor site. Now in this case, the transcription has been completed, right? That is, the mRNA has been synthesized. Now the protein synthesis, that is the second stage in the translation, we are focusing on what? The protein synthesis inhibition, right? Now the mRNA will bind to that ribosomal units 30S, right, and the 50S. You can see in the picture there is the P site present and the A site present. A calling for the acceptor, P is the polypeptide, right? Now in the normal process, what should happen? There is the mRNA template. mRNA template will carries the information right? And that will be decoded and that produced into the, or that can converted to the polypeptide chain. Now you can see there is the nascent polypeptide chain where the amino acid residues are getting joined with each other, and therefore after completion of this amino acid long chain, what will happen? What will synthesize? A protein. A protein is the long chain of amino acids, right? Now the tetracycline inhibit the binding of the amino acyl tRNA to the A site of the ribosome, and that is the 30S of the ribosomes, right? And therefore amino acyl tRNA will not be able to bind to the A site, and as it is not getting bind to the A site, it will not get read, right? The amino acid that is present on that tRNA will not get read, therefore further protein will not synthesized, right? Therefore it will inhibit the protein synthesis. You can see in the picture there is the amino acyl tRNA which is trying to bind at the 30S ribosome and the mRNA, but due to the presence of tetracycline will not allow the amino acetyl tRNA to attach on the A site, and therefore the amino acid that is present on that tRNA will not get added on that polypeptide chain. Therefore the protein will not get synthesized, ultimately inhibit the process, inhibit the bacterial growth, right? This is the mode of action of the tetracyclines. Now we will see the second protein synthesis inhibitor, that is the streptomycin. Okay, in the streptomycin, it is a very famous drug. Okay, then it is produced from the Streptomyces graecosus. Okay, it is the broad spectrum antibiotic effective against gram positive as well as gram negative. It can used in the multi-drug therapy of the tuberculosis. Along with that, for action of the streptomycin, it will require the oxygen for its transport into the cell. For reaching to the cell, bacterial cell, streptomycin requires the oxygen, and due to this property it is not effective in the anaerobic bacteria because there will be absence of oxygen, so the streptomycin will not able to act on that conditions. Okay, this then we will study. Then we are now on the mode of action of the streptomycin. Now streptomycin will inhibit the initiation complex called as the ternary initiation complex by inhibiting the attachment of the formyl methionine tRNA into the 30S subunits. This formyl methionine tRNA is present, okay, in the 30S subunit. Now this tRNA is a component of this ternary initiation complex which is formed naturally by accompanying the tRNA, that is the formyl methionine tRNA, mRNA and the 30S ribosome. This complete together three will produce the ternary initiation complex. Okay, due to the streptomycin, the mRNA, that is the formyl methionine tRNA, will not able to attached, okay, and therefore that initiation complex will not only get formed, then the protein synthesis will get inhibited. Okay, this leads to the codon misreading and eventual inhibition of the protein synthesis. Okay. Also, it is highly selective against the semi-sensitive 70S ribosomes, and therefore it is effective against the prokaryote. Okay. You can see here in the structure of the streptomycin, there are three amino acids which are attached via the glycosidic linkage. Okay, glycoside linkage, and therefore they also called as the aminoglycoside antibiotic. This is a very special property of the streptomycin, as it will contain three amino acid which is joined together using the aminoglycosidic linkages, due to which it can also called as the aminoglycoside antibiotic. It is used in the treatment of the multi-drug therapy of the tuberculosis. Broad spectrum antibiotic, effective against gram positive as well as gram negative bacteria. Okay, it will inhibit basically the attachment of the formal methionine tRNA. Alright, it binds to the small 16S RNA of the 30S subunit, which interfere with the binding of that tRNA. Okay. Therefore, the ternary initiation complex will not form. As the initiation complex is not getting formed, the process will not initiate, and ultimately the protein synthesis will inhibited. That will result into the death of that microbial cell. Okay, this is the streptomycin. Now we saw two protein synthesis inhibitor. First is the tetracycline, and the second is the streptomycin. Now we will see the nucleic acid inhibitors, right? In the nucleic acid inhibitors, as we all know, nucleic acids are the core compound or the core component we can call, upon which the bacteria's whole activity and the whole processes are gets depend on and are working on. So the nucleic acids are most essential for the bacterial cell, right? The bacterial cell multiplication, for its growth, right? Now we have the antimicrobial agent who can inhibit this nucleic acid synthesis process. Therefore, they are called as the nucleic acid inhibitors. Okay. First one we will see is the quinolones. Okay. Now, what are the quinolones? They are the molecule which will inhibit the DNA synthesis. Okay. This drug or this antibacterial agent will inhibit the synthesis of the DNA. Now here is a very interesting mode of its action. It will bind to the DNA gyrase. Now DNA gyrase is the enzyme which is crucial, required and essential for supercoiling of the DNA. Now what is the role of the DNA gyrase, that we will see first. In the processes such as the DNA transcription and the DNA translation, there should be unwinding. Okay. Only after unwinding the mRNA can be transcribed or the new replication or the new DNAs can be formed, and for each process the DNA strand should be unwind, right? After unwinding, it has to be again supercoiled, again return back into this original state for say translation, right? Now for that supercoiling, the DNA gyrase enzyme do this work for supercoiling. It is a group of topoisomerase, or it is a topoisomer. What are these? These are the molecules that are required or that are essential for the processes such as the DNA transcription, translation, replications. Alright. Now, for example, RNA polymerase is the enzyme for polymerization. All topoisomerase will relax the DNA. Only DNA gyrase in one is the one topoisomerase molecule which is only responsible for supercoiling of the DNA. Now our quinolone antibiotic will act on the DNA gyrase is the target, right? It will produce a very stable complex with the DNA gyrase. Therefore the DNA will not able to supercoiled again, okay, and therefore the process afterwards will get inhibited. It is the bactericidal drug. It will kill the bacteria, right? As the nucleic acid is getting killed, the bacteria is ultimately will kill only, will be dead. Then this quinolones are not recommended for children and the pregnant woman because it may damage the growing cartilage, right? Now examples are the fluoroquinolones. In the quinolone, these are the fluoroquinolones. This means this will have the fluorine group in that. Okay. Then norfloxacin, ofloxacin, ciprofloxacin are the examples of this quinolones. Now we will see in the detail. Now in this picture you can see, let's say this is the E. coli genome, okay, the circular double-stranded DNA which present in the E. coli, okay, numbering from the 1400 microns long genome. Now we know the DNA is the double-stranded molecule, right, forming a left-handed double helix, okay. All topoisomerase, as I mentioned, are responsible for DNA relaxation except the DNA gyrase, which carry out the DNA supercoiling. You can see the green color one is the DNA gyrase. Now the main quinolone target is the DNA gyrase, which is responsible for cutting one of the chromosomal DNA strands at the beginning of the supercoiling process. Now this nick is only temporary and later the two ends are joined back together with the help of the DNA gyrase. Okay, that is repaired. The DNA is getting repaired with the DNA gyrase. DNA gyrase is responsible for repairing and supercoiling, right, of that DNA. That means it will again return back the DNA on its original shape. The quinolone molecules, as it are, now you can see these are purple color fluoroquinolone molecules are getting attached onto that DNA gyrase and they will make a very stable complex with the DNA gyrase, therefore inhibit its activity and prevent the repair of the DNA cuts, right, and therefore the DNA will get killed and ultimately the bacteria will be dead. You can see in the picture there is the topoisomerase present, that is the RNA polymerase DNA gyrase. RNA polymerase will release the DNA, will be responsible for mRNA. The mRNA is getting synthesized, you can see, right. Now DNA is unwinded state, is in unwinded state. There is the DNA gyrase which is there for supercoiling of the DNA or which will repair that DNA. Now in the presence of the fluoroquinolone, that is the quinolones will attached onto the DNA gyrase will produce a very stable complex, due to which DNA gyrase will not able to repair the DNA. Therefore DNA cuts will be as remain as it is. It will not get supercoiled again, it will not get repaired, therefore the bacteria will ultimately gets killed, will be dead, right. This is the mode of action of the quinolones. Now we will see rifampicin, that is also a nucleic acid inhibitor. Now in this case it will inhibit the RNA synthesis, okay. Quinolones are for DNA synthesis, right. It is acting on the DNA strands, therefore the quinolones will be responsible for inhibiting DNA synthesis and the rifampicin are responsible for inhibiting RNA synthesis. Now the rifampicin, these are the semi-synthetic derivative of the rifamycin B and the produced from the Streptomyces mediterraneae, okay. Now what is going on in the rifampicin, it will basically bind to the DNA dependent RNA polymerase unit Okay, this enzyme is responsible for RNA synthesis, right? Bacterial RNA synthesis. Due to the rifampicin, it will inhibit the synthesis of the RNA, right? It is also a bactericidal antibiotic. It is a wide spectrum of activity. Okay. Then important point here also, it will reach the blood concentration in the higher state, in the higher concentration in the saliva. Alright. Then the rifampicin binds to the DNA dependent RNA polymerase, blocks the synthesis for RNA. Okay. It can used in the treatment of tuberculosis. Also the gram positive cocci, gram positive bacteria also. Now you can see in this picture, on the right and on the left hand side, on the picture A, there is a normal process going on of the RNA synthesis, and on the picture B, in the presence of the rifampicin. Now we will see first picture A. In that the DNA is getting entered via the DNA entry channel. You can see after that the DNA will unwind. Now the coding strand of the DNA will be there, and the other strand through which the RNA is getting synthesized. Now this whole process is taking place into the DNA dependent RNA polymerase molecule, right? You can see the DNA dependent RNA polymerase in the beta subunit, the RNA synthesis is taking place. Okay. The second strand of the DNA, the red color one, on that the RNTPs are getting added, the ribonucleic triphosphate, right? RNTPs are added, ribonucleotide phosphate, and which will attached onto that strand and synthesize the RNA. It will result into the mRNA elongation. Now look into the picture B. This was the normal process, right? Picture A. Now in the picture B, our rifampicin is present. Now start of the process will be the same. DNA will be entered via the DNA entry channel. Okay. Then the coding strand will be separated, and in the beta subunit, the other strand of the DNA through which on which the RNTPs are getting added by the 3' end, and the RNA is synthesizing there, right? Now the rifampicin will bind to the beta subunit and it will block the elongation of that mRNA. Now this process is present in where the DNA dependent RNA polymerase. This enzyme will carry out the RNA synthesis, and since the rifampicin will inhibit or will block that elongation, therefore mRNA will not able to get synthesized, right? This is the mode of action of this rifampicin drug, right? Then we will see third one, nucleic acid inhibitor, that is the nalidixic acid. In the nalidixic acid, the mode of action or the mechanism of action is similar to the quinolone. We can refer to the quinolone mode of action for the studying the nalidixic acid. Okay. Now it is the synthetic antibacterial agent used in the treatment for urinary tract infection, which can be caused by the Klebsiella, Enterobacter, Proteus species, then E. coli. Okay. It is non-fluorinated quinolone. Only difference between the quinolone and the nalidixic acid are the nalidixic acid are non-fluorinated, whereas the quinolones are the fluoroquinolone, right? They are fluorinated. Then it is also a bactericidal drug. It will kill the bacteria. You can observe every nucleic acid inhibitor is the bactericidal. It will kill the bacteria, right? This is the mode of action and about the nalidixic acid. In this online lecture, we studied the protein synthesis inhibitors. okay, which include the streptomycin and the tetracycline. Tetracycline plus streptomycin, these are protein synthesis inhibitor. Then we studied nucleic acid inhibitors, and in this we studied the quinolones, then the nalidixic acid, plus we studied the rifampicin, right? I hope you understood today's online lecture. If you have any doubt regarding this, then please ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching.